Hello. So we've got a few PowerPoints and a bit of a chat about how we engage employers and other stakeholders. And we're going to share a PowerPoint with you now um, from a window. Let me just start that off from its window. There we go. And if you could just tell me, Rodney, if you're seeing that okay.
Yeah, all good.
Brilliant. Okay. So we are talking about Strodelive and our industry links. And we find that with our industry links, it's really important to try and get out of the classroom as much as possible. It's not showing my notes, is it? Which is annoying. There we go. So this week, it's quite serendipitous. We've just done our vinyl release, and using Elastic Stage, it's a real game changer for us. So for years and years, we used to do lots of CD releases, and of course, CDs have gone away and come back again. But we have obviously been doing digital releases between then and now, but now this year we've actually spent some time designing the cover and getting the vinyl release out, because you can do on-demand vinyl, which makes it achievable for all the students, which is a really cool way of doing it. So once you've got something like that, we can run our course Strodelive as a business. It's by the students, for the students, in the community and part of the community, and it makes it part of our local cultural community. We bill ourselves as the production company for our community, doing local community gigs, and when they're releasing tracks and things, it gives them something to do. We've also got various spaces that we use. We find church buildings are really handy. Obviously, schools have always used church buildings and things, but they could be transformed into professional spaces. And we've done this through like a couple of years partnering up with Sidmouth Jazz and Blues Festival, providing the community program, and through community activities that we've done. I did 4 years of Blues in the Pews, where we licensed a church space and put on a blues night once a month that lots of the students could get involved in, and that resulted in a weekend of festivals where we've got a lot of blues bands and things, and lots of other pop-up events. We found that partnering with festivals locally is a real golden opportunity, because you can get students in doing a professional activity, and with the guidance of the staff, they can they'll learn far more than they will in the classroom. We've also worked quite a long time with the Godney Gathering and with the Glastonbury Festival, with the Emerging Talent competition. We've done a few of those, and now we're partnering up with the Blue Tone Festival in Taunton. And the elements of those is there's a strong community element, particularly in the Blue Tone and as there was in Sidmouth, to engage the community as we were putting on the education community program. That means as well the students are learning about the value of arts in the community, and as practitioners of arts in the community, as many of our staff are as well, it means that students can be turned on to that rather than just the pure business money making thing. So we're looking at fundraising and benefit to communities and things, and how we build that.
Yeah, which I think can be can be a bit more competitive, like that side of the industry. So yeah, showing the students the community side to it, and actually that there's loads of opportunities out there, and people really want young people to get involved within the music industry and the events industry, more importantly in some cases, in the organization. And it's not just about being the performer, which we'll talk a bit about later actually. It's more about the organization of the festival and getting young people involved in that. We can talk a little bit about Godney Gathering next, I think.
Can I just ask how you deal with the risk assessing side of that, because that's a
brilliant question. So it was quite involved with Sidmouth, for example, because that was residential, the first one that we did. But that involved quite a lot of work in me going down, getting accommodation, planning it all out. I did like a 20-page booklet to go with it. Something like the Godney Gathering is brilliant because we've been there right from the beginning. It's a one field festival and it's local. So once they're in, it's a real family feel, and there's just one field and they can't really go anywhere, with different stages within the one field. So we look for opportunities where we can manage that risk. And we have various staff attached to it, and we'll often for Sidmouth, we had the production manager came in,
Yeah.
met with the students, we had them DBS checked, we had their public liability. So there is quite a lot of work, but once you've got that partnership set up, it can be really effective. And we've done things like run communications through Teams is quite good when you're in the field.
Yeah, that seems to work well. And that our college seems to go for that a lot more than having sort of a separate like phone or anything like that. And it's just well, we're not talking about taking whole classrooms here as well. It's usually it's a select sort of like 5 to 10 students. I mean, for Godney, we tend to take a couple more. That it's those that are really keen and interested. But the important thing is that we offer out the opportunity to everyone, and then we see who wants to apply, and then from that we will kind of take those who think that could really benefit from the experience. So yeah, the first residential of Sidmouth, we took, I think, 5 students, I believe. I think it was 5 students, and they were there for the whole weekend. And they were helping across 2 different venues, helping out the professionals that were providing the education workshops there. But yeah, it was quite. The Sidmouth one took a lot of planning because it was something new. But like Dan said, with Godney Gathering, because they're quite a key stakeholder in our courses here. They know what we're all about, and they're not far away. And also, we run just the merch table. And that. It's clear where.
And because we're in a backstage area, we've got separate spaces that are safe, and we can manage them, and we spend quite a lot of time training the students as well, and making sure about expectations. They actually do an application for each one of the things, and they talk about expectations and responsibilities. But actually, for the opportunities that we've picked, like Sidmouth and Godney, they're really safe spaces, safer even than Street and Glastonbury. And we've got like backstage areas, and we've been able to take SEN students as well, and vulnerable students with proper plans in place. From the experience of taking students out to India, because we've got a link with the Matheson Music School out there, we've taken them out twice to groups of 10 students, in quite extreme sort of circumstances. It's kind of like and students with ASD and SEN into Calcutta. You realize actually with a bit of planning you can manage anything, and we even went like looking for crocodiles and tigers and things. So I know that with good risk assessment, you don't need to be afraid of it. You just need to plan good planning. And
we do at the start of the year, we outline a lot of our key events that we're going to do with the students and with built into the curriculum. And it does. I mean, Dan's got to take a lot of the credit for it, because this course is essentially his baby, and we've gone through it, and at the start of the year we plan everything quite meticulously. I think we've gotten better with experience, haven't we? Especially in the past couple of years of just outlining those key events, when they're going to happen roughly. We have a live events list as well that we give access to the students, so the students can see when and
of course we involve all the students in the planning too. So they write the risk assessments with us, and they are sort of stakeholders. They're part of our team,
this forms part of their assessment as well. Which course are we referring to?
We're doing the level 3 extended diploma in music from Pearson. And in that it's got quite large chunky assignments, but it's about teaching them and giving them lots of experiences. And within that, particularly as you get towards the personal collaborative project, a lot of that personal experience goes towards it. So we find if we put in these good experiences and good activities, then the assignments sort of pretty much take care of themselves. They get used to blogging it. We use a blogger kind of thing, so they've got like photos, like you can see here a student like helping out on sound desk at a festival. When they're talking about that and how they understand about that professional process, suddenly that puts a lot of depth into, say, the D8 careers module and things like that, and them demonstrating understanding of the industry and technical ability. So I'll just whiz through some more slides, but that was a great question, thanks for bringing it up. So we've got an emphasis on sort of doing education programs in the community, but when we've done that, we've involved the students in it as well. So that was a large part of what we did at Sidmouth, with a jazz community and a blues community stage based on Blues in the Pews that we were doing, where it's a kind of inclusive thing where people get trained and then they come and they perform. and that was a really nice thing to take something from an arts in the community thing and then really deeply involve the students in that as well. It was kind of part of the offer that we were doing as part of that too. And we did a lecture series, and we've got a local theatre as well, and that was really good because those lectures we could record for the sort of history and development of popular music part of the course. But also the students came and watched some of it, and we got a few of the students to participate in that because it was a very much, rather than just a lecture, we kind of followed the model where we were singing bits of it too. And with our theatre programme, that was a great thing to be able to do with that.
And it was a good test run for the stuff we were going to deliver at Sidmouth, wasn't it?
It really was, yeah. Again, you know, like other sort of stakeholders, it's really good to be connecting with like your local government. So we get opportunities to do all the kind of like the parish council support and investitures. And because they know that we're there in the community whenever they've got like community things going on, we're kind of a go-to. You know, we get all the phone calls like, have you got a small acoustic group? You know, and it's just kind of facilitating that. And I know it can seem like a hassle, but once you get used to it and you think, right, okay, well, these are the people, we kind of train our students up, say, get a tight half hour, you know, that we can send you out and do something. So when you get that phone call, you know, oh yeah, we've got so and so, we've got a thrash metal band, that'll be great for that. We've got a little folk group or a few strings, or you know, you try and get a few different things going so that when somebody asks that thing, you can slot it in, because when you send them off and they get to do that thing, they get that professional experience because they're working with different people and turning up and doing it all, you know.
Definitely. I was gonna say the two students in the picture that you can see there, that's Freya and Madsen, who were students of ours last year. They really thrived in that sort of environment for the investitures, because they were both like an acoustic duo. But those two are a really shining example of two students that really got what me and Dan were trying to get across to them, and they really understood we have to be organized, and they were having like little meetings and lessons about what they're going to do next, and they were scheduling their own time, and it was really fantastic to see that we could just say, you guys are doing this at this time, and they would go and schedule their time to practice their set and go off and do it.
They ended up playing every other week or something. And that's the kind of sort of thing we're fostering, that we're training them a bit here, but sending them out, going off and doing stuff. And it's really useful. You know, places for young people to play is really important. We've had a great community venue for the last kind of 15 years that we were heavily involved in. Sadly, it's actually failed and closed, which is a real loss. But we always make sure that we've got our eggs in more than one basket, because if you rely on one place, things change quickly, particularly venues. You know, economically, they can no longer get students in for cheap or whatever. We've got a way as well of making it work with places that are licensed. So we have a really good kind of wristband risk assessment, so that everybody coming in that's ticketed, our students, for example, blanket under 18, even if they're over 18 and they're trained, you know, no drink or anything whenever we're out. And then parents and so on, when they come in, even parents have to be ID'd, and everybody gets a wristband, and the venues have that, and it works really well. We can really manage that well. And also some of the venues have even paid for security to look after people in the evenings and things, and they get that kind of professional experience. We get enough stuff behind it. But somewhere like the Loft is a local club, but it's a very nice, well-run club, and he's let us use it for free. This will be our third one this year. It's a really great big club, lighting and everything. And he lets us take over the whole club for the evening. We can run it safely. It's mostly parents and students, to be honest, but it's like a club experience, but in a very kind of managed way. And we've got a relationship with the owner where he really wants to help and benefit the community. And it's like a community event in his club, and it works really well. And it means parents can have a drink. Which is fine, you know, in the same way that if we're performing in the theatre, we've got a bar in the theatre. So the students know that they're not drinking, but even if their parents are having a drink or whatever.
It's something we spent quite a lot of time, again, going back to the risk assessments, working with our senior leadership team, and really outlining how we can make these events safe for the students, for us to make them feel like they're in a safe space, and just getting the students to understand as well that they are representing the college. And a lot of them they really rise to the occasion, actually, we find. So actually giving them that little bit of rope to say, like, right, we're going to go to this venue that you know, you guys have organized this in a sense, now let's see how it runs, but remember, you're being professional and you're here, so you know, and yeah, it seems to really work. And I think sometimes, a lot of colleges and maybe centres are a bit they're not too sure whether to like give that rope out to the students and like give that experience out. But we are always of the kind of opinions like, we should always get them involved, because
we run a tight ship on it.
We do.
So it's really explicit, and we've had the principal come along and have a pint and watch it as well in the past. Which was nice, and he just sort of checked it out and said, this is great, well done. We've got GWS Radio, a local radio station very nearby, and they've come in and done media training with the students, and they can walk up the road and do sessions as well, which is great because it's like 5 minutes walk from the college. So that's a really good partner. And any kind of like local radio is brilliant because they can get a live performance experience in the studio doing an acoustic performance. We found that really valuable. Do you want to mention the Bluebird?
We also recently have been working with the Bluebird in Wedmore, who are doing an emerging talent competition. So last year, along with a lot of other schools in the surrounding area, we have put through 2 or 3 sort of like bands from our college to get involved in it. And the Bluebird is a really great little venue for acoustic musicians and singer-songwriters, and really well run as well. And again, they're another stakeholder that seemed to come through. To come through.
And they're community oriented. They put a certain amount of their profit back into the community, and people can bid for it. So we love businesses that really have a strong community-minded thing. We like to partner with people that run it like that, where they're not just thinking, obviously we want to help them out economically, but they also really like giving things back. So Mark at the Loft is like that, the Bluebird's like that, and of course, GWS Radio is for the community. So it's those strong community links. I know this is something you're really hot on as well, Rodney, but visiting performers, if you can persuade people to come in and get those names in, is really good. And we've managed to get in quite a good lot of people from over the years, again because we've got a regional theatre. Sometimes they can, like Jason Rebello was able to do a masterclass and then an evening performance. We had Steve Knightley in from Show of Hands, and he did a really good masterclass, but we filmed it so that he could put it on his what they call the hands-on TV streaming thing. Brett Anderson just came in from Sway just because he was super generous. Tom Toomey from the Zombies was local. He came, looked around, liked what we were doing, and we found, musicians, they like to give back. So it's just kind of as getting the confidence to talk to people. I know some of the people you're going to mention. You just form friendships. And Anoop in India, we've actually been out to India for Anoop and stuff. So that experience of somebody saying like, when I played with Paul McCartney, I did this, and that's great because it really gets the students excited to realise these are real people. And they've got that, and they'll learn far more from them with their industry stuff than they will from us. The
Tom Toohey one was fantastic because his opening gambit was he showed them the video of him performing at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And like that was just, and then he talked about all of his little projects as well, and he talked about how they were just as important as the stuff he did with the Zombies, and the students sort of like. You really love that,
and we love it too.
We find it fantastic.
It's great. We find often it's a win-win. If they come in and they have a good time and they feel like, I'm giving it back to the kids and stuff. You can have it so everybody has a good time, really. And we're always identifying students for specific opportunities as well. If there's a little something, so I think like one of our pianists, I know that Jason Rebello is kind of local, so I kind of sent off a message to him, said like, we've got really good jazz pianists, do you know anybody? And he found somebody that he could have lessons with, so again, that kind of contact thing is really valuable. And just getting out into the professional environment. So we do kind of whole day trips and get out into the Red Brick Building or the Loft or whatever, and we crew it by the students, and when it's good we just sit back and take photos, and they've got all their clipboards and off they go. And it's quite nice to have a packed lunch and watch them set it all up, do the whole thing. And if you don't have to step in with a good group, you don't have to step in, and it goes great with all of those things.
I think just adding to that just really quickly, I think when we do have a good couple of students, we find that like it really has to sometimes, in order to stretch and challenge them, you just have to let them try and run the show. We had this, I'm speaking of 2 students in particular last year that we let them run the sound for our flagship Christmas concert, which we hadn't really done before, but we figured out a way to do it where we could still have like master control if something really goes wrong. But they were able to program, they did it in scenes, they programmed everything on the desk, and
it ended up being the best sound we'd ever had.
So it was
do you have do the distinct pathways? I mean, we have music and music production, or music
we do.
So are you saying the music technology students crew for the musicians, or are you training musicians to do their own live sound?
Both. So we see it as very holistic and very fluid. And we have a pathway where they can choose an A or a B route in the first year. But we do tell them we'd like you to learn everything. But within our cohort, we need people that have skills in lots of different areas. So there's a multitude of skills that aren't always highlighted in the classroom. But when we put them together, there might even be somebody who decides they're not much of a performer, but they're just really good at spreadsheets. Honestly, you occasionally get one and they'll be like, well, you know, we need to spend this much on the coffee, and we're going to need to sell this many, and we're going to get this many CDs, and the timings. So we get people that would be really good on the organization, and they sort of get into that. Some people get more into the graphics and things, and they're all making music and stuff, but they find other skills around it. And of course, in the creative industries, that's what we want. People who are either generalists, which we do, first of all, make sure they're all generalists, but they're also specialists. And people will say, well, I'm just really good at mastering, or I'm really good at producing a session in the studio, and I'm doing all this other stuff. But maybe my thing in this gig is making sure we get a decent live recording.
Yeah, and our professional pathway sort of works like that. If we have a student starting on our level 2 provision, where they learn all of the basic skills and knowledge to just essentially operate the resources within the department and learn a little bit about the very basic concepts of music and music theory, and getting to grips with it. And then through the level 3, that's when we start to develop their independence, getting them to do individualized projects. And through the first year, again, we just dive a bit deeper. The second year, there's a really heavy emphasis on student-led projects themselves, and they have to put a lot of ownership.
And if you mention your point there, we've got that medium-term teaching objectives.
That's
we do it really.
So sort of like such as planning, marketing, and like dropping an album gives the sequencing of the whole whole scheme of work, cohesion, and it's definitely like a positive outcome across the different cohorts of skills as well. So and like that's we're
all aiming to bring out this album, do a track drop, and market it. That's what we're aiming for. So they get that, and they say, right, well, we need somebody doing this, we need a job doing this. While we're doing that, we're saying, well, blog that, and we know they're building up what they need for the assignment. And the assignments just happen, because like giving them some sterile assignment is generally not good. I mean, obviously it's clear what they've got to hit and everything, but it's almost like the assignments, we'll get those done, but we're making an album. You know,
I mean, it's difficult and it's never perfect each time, because sometimes you'll get a group that really enjoys structure, which we haven't had a little bit this year, and we've that's something that we've struggled with.
That's the other thing, isn't it? You can't do the same thing every year. You've got to tailor it to the group.
Which is why it's so important at the start of the year that we sit down as a team and we kind of take stock of last year, have a debrief, and say, right, what could be the issues this year? How are we going to combat that? Because each year is completely different, and sometimes you'll get a group that really loves the structure and they really need to be told, no, this is your objective here and here, and then another group that thrive under the holistic nature of the course, which they'll
come up something we haven't even thought of.
Exactly. And we just roll with it.
Working across the cohorts is an advantage, because they'll always be working with the year above them and thinking, well, I'm not going to do it like that. So you kind of got the idea of them kind of thinking, well, next year, why don't we do this? And they'll often come back with that. And the final point is, our classrooms aren't classrooms as much as possible. I know this one looks like one, but generally all our classrooms, they're studios, rehearsal spaces, and performance venues that we happen to start off with a little bit of a starter and maybe have a plenary in, but the rest of it is a professional space. So that's our theatre there as well, which we get to use a bit, but we try and set up our classrooms as studios with lighting systems, sound, and we have them permanently set up. So they come in and they know they're in a professional space, and that really helps.
Yeah, and then it's that thing throughout the year. Students that get more comfortable with those spaces, we start to teach them the ins and outs of them a bit more. Those of them that are a bit more technically minded, we can go more in depth about signal flow and everything like that. But then the students that aren't into that but are still into the performing can work with those other students, and it's all very cohesive and gets them working together.
Okay, we've taken rather a long time, Ronnie, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen, but that's about it for that.
No, thanks a lot. Can I just ask you another question?
Yeah.
The first slide you were talking about, well, do you actually incorporate as a company to do the releases and that kind of thing? What happened?
No, we're within our wider organisation, but we have an account. So we have an account code within that.
Yeah.
And we can put things through the ticketing of the theatre if we need to, and etc. But also sometimes we're given things in kind and donation, sometimes when we work for festivals, but it all goes through the college accounts. But because we have a course code, they've let us preserve that. We started that when we were first raising money for the Maths and Music School, which was a charity. And they enabled us to put it into a set account, and then we were able to make donations as a college to that. And then the way we run it here is we run it through ticketing or whatever through the theatre, and then the profits are then put into the college accounts, and then the students are able to draw that down. We're not actually given any budget at all. We have zero budget as a department, but it's not a problem because we end up earning quite a lot from the concerts we do.
Yeah, we essentially run like a we almost like run like a non-for-profit organization. Everything that we earn off the gigs from the students we put back into their resources, and over the years we've had to learn to be extremely resourceful. I mean, I say we very liberally there. Like Dan has got this map of contacts in the local musical community, and like I say, we do rely heavily on a lot of like equipment donations and us being a bit savvy. If we find something on an auction site that we could benefit the students, could be useful, we tend to go for it. We've got a fantastic new technician as well that has really helped us with all of that. That is really on it, and especially since merging with the new group overall, it's been quite difficult navigating the like the financial process and how the way we order things completely changed within a week. So having Grace there to help us with that is fantastic. We kind of just make a shopping list and say, can we source this and this, and how can we do it? And sometimes it takes time, but actually it's really beneficial. And then teaching the students as part of their practice as well that they have to look after the equipment, because it needs to last years. It needs to last a while.
And we have a board meeting each week, and they'll say, what do you think we really need to get? Well, we need to focus on the drummers this week. We need some more cymbals. Right, well, we know need new keyboard, but we'll save up for that next year. And so they're actually thinking about the resources and thinking ahead. And the principals, last two principals we've had, have loved it. And they've said, like, let's get everybody else to do this. Because, of course, you know, we're not always going cap in hand. We're saying, we've earned this. Can we get this, please? So they like that.
I bet they do, Okay. Right, shall I
Yeah, please do.
I don't know if I can match your oops. Okay. Okay. Yes. So, surprisingly, for a busy seaside town, there's very few opportunities for industry links within West Dorset, really. And we've kind of had to make our own. A lot of the things are projects built around the college and us reaching out. So our probably most successful thing that we do is concerts. We've got a theatre here, the Bay Theatre, which is shared with Performing Arts, but it's basically for our sole use. So we've got a few contacts and headliners. So the artist comes in, Mark here from Levelers. they bring their own audience, and the students do support, and also we get them to rehearse with the students. So if I just show you a clip, they're doing a Levelers song here. There we go.
What a beautiful day, I'm the king of all time. Nothing is impossible if now powerful mind. It's on the 5th of November, the time.
Etc. Mark actually said they were better than the Levelers that night. Anyway, yeah, and we've got, as you mentioned earlier, Robbie McIntosh. So yeah, Live Aid, The Pretenders, John Mayer, John Schofield. Even this isn't as well recorded, but yeah. So it's not just about. It's not just about them performing. You know, we want the students to get the experience with them as well, and we have the Q&A and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I'm sure you do similar things, but we found that to be successful, and the students really buy into it. They're interested. Another thing we found that student gigs on their own in this area are not a big enough pool, particularly for our theatre. So we try and get local bands in and make it double bill. Then so we get their bespoke audience, and the students get some exposure. So we're lucky to have this theatre space. It's small, it's 220, but particularly in regard to lighting, it's fully professional setup. We've just got to make the sound side of it match now. We get students involved in the marketing of it as well. These are their posters. Okay. One way we found of meeting various work experience stipulations that have come up is working with local arts organisations and artists. So this Friendly Society of Artistic Labourers, it's run by Simon Lee Dicker, who's a local artist and festival organiser. He comes in, sets a brief, and then ourselves, the art and media departments, will work according to this brief. And with that one, we've been to the No Fort recently, which is a Weymouth-based Victorian fort. And here we are at Kingston Moorwood House yesterday. And we've also been to the County Museum and the County Court, where the Talbot Martyrs was sent off to Australia, and these different venues. So, but the fact that he's written this professional brief and we're responding to it, we're able to tick a lot of boxes via that.
Great.
Where are we? Yeah, so we have a collaboration with the local digital radio station. If I just move this. Yeah. So Air 107.2, our Module E for our music tech or music production students involves a takeover there, and they present. It's like a 4-hour show, which they have to build material for, write their own material, and rehearse the kind of presentation according to the organisation's strict codes.
Yeah.
And there's a dance promoter here, similar to, you've probably heard of Sandstorm, in a music organisation in Bournemouth Pool area. It's sort of Activate is the dance version of that, but they do a big festival in the Borough Gardens in Dorchester, and again our Module E second year students help with the marketing and planning of that. It turns into a big DJ competition See if I can get that
Street
going.
in the Park.
Street in the Park.
Street in the Park.
Street in the Park.
Street in the Park is a DJ competition that happens down in Dorchester Borough Gardens.
A yearly day of excitement and good vibes.
We have some dance performances happening, there's food stalls, there's arts and crafts.
Back in 2019, I worked with Atkinson from Weymouth College and the music tech students who had to put on.
I don't know if we can send these PowerPoints in with, so if anyone's interested, they can check out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so partnering with artists and art promoting organisations, sort of Arts Council funded type things. That's something else we do. Each summer, as part of Module Lima, music students organise a tour of West Dorset. It's between 5 and 7 venues usually. They're responsible for marketing it, the logistics, rehearsing the sets, etc.
That's impressive. Did you have
Yeah, I mean, I like the variety of venues there, and also they're not playing to a home crowd of parents.
Yeah.
They've got to sell it to some highly sceptical audiences, it has to be said. But
Yeah. So that's the experience. And how do they persuade all these venues to take them on? Is that sort of you built up a bit of trust there, or?
Yeah, I think we really do drill it. So most of our units, apart from Module E, are finished now. So we flip the lessons over to rehearsals to ensure that the stuff is really good quality. And so when it goes out, you know, we've got a bit of a reputation that people know it's going to be good and not an issue for them. So yeah, venues are usually quite up for having us.
That's great.
So we've got a couple of, so Billy Bragg has just moved into Weymouth and he lives about 5 minutes away from the college. So he's come in for one workshop so far, but he's keen to work with the college more. But we do, every year we'll have an industry panel that reviews, well, we do one of two things. Either they come in and review student work and give feedback. So we've just had one. This is Isaiah Dreads, who's a kind of established rapper, but who lives locally, producer. So he reviews D9 work actually and give feedback on that, sort of industry feedback. But we've also had industry weeks where we get in a variety of ex-students, and you might know Chris Spedding. He had a hit with motorbiking, that was his big hit, but he was going to join the Stones at one time. And so we get people in to give talks about their experiences, and that's like a week-long program of lectures, basically. Yeah, guest producers who come in, record and shoot videos. So this is he's actually a metal producer, this guy, but replicated the Abbey Road.
Nice.
And then we're kind of yeah. So we've got our YouTube channel for that kind of stuff. I don't know if you've heard of it, but near Dorchester, this multi-million-pound new studio builds happened. Echo Town Studios. It's incredible, basically. And we go up there for recording sessions. It's got a big 48-channel Neve desk or something like that. Or is it SSL? I don't know. But so they have a session in there, and we build links that way. I don't know if it's the same in your institution. This year in particular, there's a big focus on logging all this activity.
Yeah.
So we've developed, it's initially a Microsoft Forms interface, but then we had to get the spreadsheet. There's various programming things we had to do to kind of sort the raw data.
Be really interested in how you do that, because we use a Microsoft form to do ours, but we're supposed to use Grofar, but it doesn't work.
Right, okay.
So there's the big bit of software we're supposed to use, but it really doesn't work for our students.
Because it requires a lot of ownership on the students to put in their own.
But then it also requires business staff to okay it and stuff, and it just never happens.
There's too many steps to it.
Too many, like,
when it needs to be just like, okay, so what did you guys do that was work experience?
Yeah. So we did something very, very similar, but with just a form. So it'd be really lovely to share that headache.
Yeah, I can send
you how you do it. Oh, that'd be amazing if you could send us that. That'd be awesome.
But the problem we've got is with this, what denotes work experience and what is what we're calling industry practice, and it's a work in progress. So the latest thing is that it can only be work experience if it's been risk assessed first. So if for instance, they are performing in pubs outside of college, but it hasn't been risk assessed by the college, we can't log it as work experience. Okay. Currently, we've got several sessions a week where they are rehearsing independently, and that's industry practice. But there's some debate about classing that as true work experience. I'm sure you'll.
The rules seem to change on what they'll accept each year, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's a work in progress. But lastly, we also do some busking. That's not really engaging with industry in the ways the other slides have been, but. Well, I suppose it isn't that they get people coming up to them and offering them gigs and passing landlords and things like that. But
we have busking opportunities at Clark's Village, which is quite good. So they're actually talking to a large business there, and then they're given slots.
Right.
We've got one of these. I don't know if you know Clark's Village. It's one of these like retail villages, and there's a kind of busking areas there that we sometimes go and do. That's quite good fun.
Right. Okay.
It sounds like I mean, we're obviously delivering the same course, and there's some amazing good practice you've got there. It's really exciting, but you have to tailor it for what you've got, don't you? And
well, it was interesting to hear your holistic approach, and you're giving a lot of responsibility to the students, and I think at the moment we don't. We're kind of steering it quite carefully, I think, but maybe it's due to the sort of cohort we're getting, and I think if we didn't do that, for us it could be an issue,
and we did say, like, for some cohorts you have to completely rethink it, so we do it. But also one of the things I was thinking about, I love the idea of them going off and doing loads of pubs, which kind of some of our students are doing. They've got the gigs in Soho and all sorts.
I mean, we are there with them when they go.
Right. But I kind of wonder, some of our students just wouldn't be up for that.
No,
So for the larger holistic thing, sometimes there's like, all right, well, you do the catering for this. You sell some cups of tea, so there's sometimes some jobs that are less out there. So are you able to, with that as well, kind of have roadies or something that people feel that they can access, or do you find sometimes it's a bit much for some students?
Well, I think as I said, the summer term is completely devoted to that, and it is that one is music performance. When we go to a pub, it'll be myself and the technician, maybe some music production students. No, we haven't. I understand what you're saying. We have obviously SEN and EHCP students doing their course. But we've been quite good at getting them to engage. I think because they go level 2. And then they see what's expected of them, and they know what's coming. But I understand what you're saying. But unfortunately, it hasn't really been an issue for us. It's been more of an issue in our theatre shows where people come out and I see 200 people, and they're like, we've had a few guitars being put down and people walking off, as I'm sure.
Occasionally.
What about so you mentioned the way that you sort of sequence the term. So you say you do all of the practical, those tours are just dedicated to the summer term.
So we finish the modules by Easter, and then the second years continue with Module E. The first years have no live assignments in the summer term, so they're ready to devote all those previous lessons to rehearsals, and it does make it a bit of a squeeze. How do you sequence your unit?
It's pretty similar, but in terms of resources, we've got quite a lot of students across the cohort, so it's a real kind of balancing act. How many students we got? About 70.
Yeah, we've got like quite a lot of 70. Yeah.
So
how many do you guys have?
So 40, 45, I think, at the moment.
Yeah. So
we've had a couple of lean years, but we had like 19 first-year music students last year, which is kind of bucked the trend for us.
Yeah. And I think that's credit to all the great stuff you're doing. Like, why wouldn't they want to buy into that? It's a fantastic course and doing great stuff. But we're kind of really resource hungry. We've only got a couple of, like I say, we run them as sort of studios, but it just means that the way we've resourced this, we've got this room has got like 1 hour that it's not being used
really
throughout the whole week, so they're just used all the time. And then of course, I mean, it was really hard to get the students out so we could do this. So they don't go home and they won't go out for lunch. They just like see this as their studios and their space for working, and they're just they're working and working. But it does mean that, like, you've got the other cohorts. Sometimes we just send them home if we've got a big project on, because they're like, but I want to make an album too. And it's like they just want to make stuff even if there's not an assignment, So
we're quite lucky in that regard. I mean, we were a very big department in years gone by. So we've got 4 practice rooms, 3 studios, and 3 computer suites.
Wow.
We've only got 1 computer suite.
We're like bursting at the seams.
Yeah, we've got 1 computer suite, and then all of our practice rooms are also studios.
And classrooms.
Yeah, and we have a cohort of 70. So it's like, you do the maths on that. We've had to learn extremely resourceful. Yeah. So I think that's where
we've got a very nice sounding stairwell.
I mean, we're slowly working at kind of chipping away at the college. I mean, it was only a couple of years ago that we managed to convince the college to take over an office that was being housed by 5 staff members, and it was like a massive. I mean, well, how big is that office?
Oh, it's huge. We call it Abbey Road.
Yeah,
it's got steps going down to it, and we've built scaffolding and lights in there, and it's got an Apollo interface in. It's awesome. But and we did it all with donations. They said, you can have this room, but you've got no money. We said, right,
fine.
And then the principal brought everybody, all the governors in to said, look what you can do with no money.
Yeah.
He loved it.
But it took us about a year of fighting though, just to get that room and speed. And
we had to do it all ourselves in the summer holidays. Just like there were cockroaches in there, honestly. Well, there was 1 cockroach. I shouldn't diss the college, but there was 1 cockroach, and we cleared it all out, and we did it all ourselves, and we got all our drills in and did it all.
We got one of our drummers to play very loud on purpose, maybe.
Yeah.
But we may or may not have got our drummers to play really loud to get them to move out.
We've by tooth and claw we've managed to build a department.
We've begged, borrowed, and stealed quite a bit. But
that's what you do, isn't it?
Yeah. How do you find we're going off? I don't know if we should stop the recording. I was just going to ask you about the how you found the RCF syllabus for the current Pearson syllabus.
I think when it was being first delivered, we did do all the meetings with the guy that wrote it. I forget his name, and we were very much on the same page. That it was like here's a load of stuff that you teach them, and we were on the same page there. You know, you make an album, you do a tour, you teach them about being a musician. Along the way, we've got to do these assignments. This is how you fit them in.
Right.
And that's the kind of attitude that we took, in that, like, let's teach them everything we want them to do to, like, be great in this part of this industry, and then we'll find ways to fit the assignments into it. And I found that quite good. I don't really have any major problems with it. I think some parts of it are compromising heavily, but I think there's reasons why they've done it. A bit like the C7. They've said, well, they're probably not very good at writing, so let's just put it all in this tiny one that's not very many guided learning hours. So if they do really rubbish at it and pass it, they can still get a triple distinction.
Yeah.
So there are a few sneaky things in it like that. But I think the spirit of it, if you read the spirit of it, I think the spirit of it is pretty good to the way in which you want to do things. And of course, we haven't mentioned it, but we've got really good links with our HE providers and good communication. So, for instance, like the D10 module, the marketing one, is really valuable because we go into all the Adobe stuff, as you say, like, the video making and things like that. And HE, the commercial music courses, some of the local ones, they love that because they say, well, that's nobody else comes in knowing this stuff, and they're ready to go, because we need all our musicians making videos and marketing themselves and building a website and all that kind of stuff. And some of the other syllabuses don't allow for that. It's a bit like when you're writing songs, why don't they get a mark for the lyrics? That is like at least 50% of the copywriting, and well written. Any poet will tell you, like, the musical processes apply to lyrical stuff. Why did we divorce everything? Say, oh, you're a linguist and you're a musician. You need to. It's holistic. It's liquid. And if you know how lyrics work. So I get frustrated that things like that, there's not a mark for lyrics and things. They used to be on the old spec.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular problems with it?
Like you say, I like the spirit of it, and that's definitely improvement on QCF. Find some of the assessment criteria very convoluted for us even to understand.
Yeah, I think you have to take it with a pinch of salt and understand what the spirit of it is generally. And working with the SVs, most of them get that, I think.
The second year briefs are a bit like, oh my god, because they're all in like one go. And before teaching so last year and for the past 3 years, I've been an LSA working with a lot of REHCP students, and almost always when I've been working with those students, they're just like, they're like, Josh, I just can't read this brief. Like, it's not that I can't read, I just can't process it because it's just massive. So a lot of my time spent, we're quite good at it now, it's just breaking down into right, you guys, you need to be doing this and this as a checklist. Don't look at the gump, just look at what checklist, what do you need to make sure that you've got. But they are behemoths. They are like so they're massive yet so vague.
So I think that's the price we pay for them making it quite slick. They just shoved it all together, and they say, well, you know what this is, we want you to make an album, do a tour, release it. But like, to get that, we've got all these millions of grading criteria, and some of them are like one word different, and they're the same thing, aren't they? Particularly on that Unity. So, anyway, should we end the recording there? I think that'd be quite good, because we're probably going off into very specific territory here. But thanks ever so much.
Have you heard much about the V levels